Folks, I've spent hours with families who've lost loved ones to gun violence. They all have the same message: do something. Well, today, my administration is taking action to make sure fewer guns are sold without background checks. This is going to keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers and felons. And my administration is going to continue to do everything we possibly can to save lives. Congress needs to finish the job and pass universal background check legislation now.
26 Republican attorney generals sued the Biden administration over its engaged in the business rule. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification of multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. Any like channel, like content, what I do here, you can support me with the link. Everything is appreciated. And my Connecticut residents, try to get that training for your pistol permits. And I'll go further, say turn your paperwork in before July 1st because the training has been modified. If you have your permit, watch the expiration date. Don't let it expire. There's a link to the online renewal portal for the state of Connecticut in the description box. Keep an eye on that. Let's talk about this. And as you know, I did a story on this 2 days ago, perhaps, where the Biden administration has released a new rule concerning the transfer of firearms. And I'm not talking about you go to the store and you do the paperwork over the counter with the retail clerk. I'm talking about you transfer a firearm to a friend, family member, what have you. The Biden administration is now requiring you to get an FFL license to do so because they are claiming that you are engaged in the business of retail firearms. If you sell it for money, as far as they're concerned, you are doing it for profit and you should have a license to do so. And of course, added to that is the background check that they're going to require. But in the light of that, 26 attorney generals, all Republicans, of course, because you're not going to find Democrats who are going to use common sense. Instead, they're going to rile on emotion as they always do. But these attorney generals are suing the Biden administration in 3 separate lawsuits to overturn the rule. I'm bringing it here. Now, as I go through this, realize this is the Associated Press, okay? So just realize the slant before I even start. Just giving you forewarning. But 26 Republican attorney generals sued to block Biden rule requiring background checks at gun shows. 26 Republican attorney generals filed lawsuits Wednesday challenging a new Biden administration rule requiring firearm dealers across the United States to run background checks on buyers. In reality, they're also suing for the use of a license, or you have to procure a license. So this is the AP. I warned you ahead of time. At gun shows and other places outside brick and mortar stores. The lawsuit filed in federal court in Arkansas, Florida, and Texas are seeking to block enforcement of the rule announced last month, which aims to close a loophole which doesn't exist that has allowed tens of thousands of guns to be sold every year by unlicensed dealers who do not perform background checks to ensure the potential buyer is not legally prohibited from having a firearm. The background check loophole, or gun show loophole, what they like to call it, is a fallacy. It's based on state law. When you transfer a gun, you must adhere to state law. Connecticut, before we had HB 6667, if you were transferring a long gun, you could do it basically just by writing out a receipt. Then they changed that. Then you had to transfer it through your DPS 3 form between 2 basically permitted or licensed individuals. Now it's gone even further where now you have to use an FFL to transfer any firearm. When it came to handguns, you had to do a DPS 3 form. I'm talking about Connecticut specifically. In other states, they don't require that. It's dependent. When you sell a gun at a gun show, the transfer is dependent upon state law. What they're doing is using federal, basically a workaround to force you to do a background check. But it's dependent on state law. The gun show loophole is a fallacy because, once again, it's dependent on the laws of the state that you're in when it comes to transferring a firearm. The lawsuit argues the new rule violates the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and that Democratic President Joe Biden doesn't have the authority to implement it, which is true. Quote, Congress has never passed into law ATF's dramatic new expansion of firearms dealer license requirements, and President Biden cannot unilaterally impose them, Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin said in a statement. This lawsuit is just the latest instance of my colleagues in other states and me having to remind the president that he must follow the law. You really think he gives a damn about that? But the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and Department of Justice declined to comment on the lawsuit. Biden administration officials have said they are confident the rule, which drew more than 380,000 public comments, would withstand lawsuits. Once again, this is the AP. If you go into those public comments, 283,000 of them were copy and paste comments from anti-gun groups. Okay? So just be careful. You see, they're being disingenuous in the reporting here. 283,000 of those comments were copy and paste from anti-gun groups, which shows you the depth of their critical thinking and actually brain power, that they have to just copy and paste the same thing over and over again with no clear thought to themselves. So let's just be clear on that. And as the 2024 presidential campaign heats up, the lawsuit and potential court battles to follow could animate both sides. GOP voters who want fewer restrictions on guns and Democrats who want more restrictions on types of firearms and access to them, because that really has stopped crime. But Biden has made curtailing gun violence because gun violence is all they give a damn about. Just like, as I pointed out repeatedly, Biden didn't even go to Waukesha, Wisconsin after 5 people lost their lives after a man plowed through a Christmas parade. He did not go to Idaho after 4 students lost their lives to a man with a knife. He damn sure didn't go to Rockford, Illinois, where one man with one knife killed 4 people and injured, I think it was 11. He didn't go to that. So this just shows you that he doesn't give a damn about your life. He only cares about the life that he can exploit politically. He's making gun violence the centerpiece of his campaign when people are losing their lives left and right, when we know from FBI data that more people lose their lives to edged instruments, knives, and what have you, than by firearms. And even if you start talking about so-called assault weapons, that number plummets greatly. It is not about your safety. It's not. A major part of his administration and re-election campaign, as the nation struggles with ever-increasing mass shootings and other killings debunked, he created the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention, basically using money to bribe states to pass red flag laws, overseen by Vice President Kamala Harris, the border czar who didn't do a damn thing about the border. And he urged Congress to ban so-called assault weapons, a political term to describe a group of high-powered guns, AP, or semi-automatic long rifles like an AR-15 that can fire 30 rounds fast without reloading. Such a ban was something Democrats shied from even just a few years ago. But, and this is once again just completing the nonsense, gun control advocates have long pushed for closing the so-called gun show loophole and have praised the new rule on background checks. Of course they do. Any anti-gun law they're going to praise. They don't know any better. Quote, if we don't update our national system by closing these loopholes, there's no telling how many more Americans will lose to gun violence, because if you get stabbed, we don't care, said Chris Brown, president of the gun control group Brady. Just keep in mind, this whole thing started because I believe his name Jim Brady was shot by a .22 long rifle revolver. Okay? Just remember that. They have literally built their whole following on that one incident to where they are now. But Brady will do everything in our power to defend this rule because we know it brings us closer to future free from gun violence. They believe this crap. Now, let me come at it. Let me clear. Okay, let me back up. No, they don't believe this crap. Okay, because at its core, gun control has nothing to do with gun violence. Okay? So, like I said, the entire gun control scheme is a pyramid. At the very top 3 levels, there are people that know good and damn well this is not about your safety and not about curbing crime. In reality, these people at the top, these elites, are about disarm America. Why? Because they can't do what they want to do when they have a populace that's well armed. We have seen that. History has shown us this over and over again. That's what that is. But then as you go down that pyramid, you get the useful idiots who honestly in their minds believes that gun control somehow is going to make them safer. They believe that crap. And they are used by the people at the top to promote this agenda. That's why they parade all these victims of gun violence around, but they ignore people who are killed by other methods. They don't get the same attention. They damn sure don't get the same money, and nobody props them up at the White House. That's how much they care about you. Okay? But hopefully these attorney generals, hopefully this lawsuit takes traction. And remember, it's not a law. This license requirement or engaged in the business of and requiring a license and background checks is a rule. It's not a law. It's another ATF rule. So we got 3 lawsuits all coming from 3 different directions for the same thing. Hopefully we'll get some traction. We'll have a federal judge step in and say, now we're going to put a kibosh on this until we hear the legal arguments, which will be fine. But there it is. Let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'm going to see you on the next one. Peace.